Hey, what's good? How we doing tonight? Welcome back to yet another video. Okay, so what are we doing today? First of all, my name's Cody Lear. I do a bunch of sports videos. I do this a lot of talking and a lot of yapping and a lot of crapping. We're gonna do this one because of all the coaches that have been let go so far, and apparently, according to Adam Schefter, there might be an eighth opening, which is crazy. But there are 7 head coach openings now in the NFL. I actually was going to record this earlier, and then the Harbaugh news struck. If you have not heard, John Harbaugh from the Baltimore Ravens was let go today. And when it comes to John Harbaugh, I definitely can understand it. I mean, he is a Super Bowl winning head coach. The last few years, I think you could argue that he was carried by superior talent on both sides of the ball. And this year, it finally came to fruition, right? Because their defense had definitely declined over the past like year or two, ever since Mike McDonald took the job over in Seattle. The offense, you had Derrick Henry, you had Lamar Jackson. It just seems like the easiest offense to run in the book. Problem is if you don't have the receivers, which Save Flowers has obviously turned out to be very good. Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews are both great. The O line has to still be able to do their part, and the secondary and third receivers have to be able to do their thing. It's partially on the GM kind of thing, so I don't know where that they are talking on that front. But yeah, no, it's definitely a huge loss. I'm definitely shocked right now about the letting go of John Harbaugh. We will talk about every head coach. I just figured we should really talk about Baltimore's right now. That's obviously the gigantic one. And I am working on a video for you guys about all the candidates and everything like that, which apparently is going to be a much longer video than I thought because I keep seeing report after report. So who knows how long we get into that deal. But yeah, the Harbaugh letting go, definitely the crazy one. And there was always speculation, right, that it was either going to be Tomlin or Harbaugh, depending on who got in the playoffs and who wasn't in the playoffs, because of the talent on each football team. Tomlin obviously wins because Tyler Loop misses the field goal, and John Harbaugh is let go. I don't think Mike Tomlin is let go. There were reports like weeks ago that the Steelers had no plans on moving on from Mike Tomlin. But yeah, this is definitely a crazy one. Um, he's definitely a phenomenal coach. According to the news, that there are 7 teams calling for him, and there are 7 head coaching vacancies. We will dive into those here in a minute. Um, yeah, absolute shock from Don Harbaugh. The next one we'll talk about. Um, we can start with the guys that were unfortunately let go yesterday and Sunday. Jonathan Gannon over there in Arizona. I believe it only been three years over there for Jonathan Gannon. Arizona really just had not improved. You know, they spent a little bit of money on the defense this year. They were at least hoping for a defense to be absolutely riddled with dominance, and it just wasn't. Injuries on the offense was absolutely rough for Arizona. Kyler Murray was out. James Conner was out. Harrison was out a couple games. Michael Wilson, he started popping off. Trey McBride, you obviously have a phenomenal tight end there. Unfortunately, the revolving door of the injuries kind of probably bit him in the butt, but the defense did not play what they would probably expect him to play as a defensive minded head coach. Arizona had a lot of things that they needed to get better at, and they just never did. In fact, last year I think it was a team that was like middle of the road, so I expected them to be better than they were, and now they're finishing 3-14 and picking third. So you kind of have to understand where that one is coming from. It's a very tough one because I think Jonathan Gannon has every right to be a very good head coach in the NFL, and I think he still can. Just things didn't work out for him. Yeah, that's it's a tough one. Watching Jonathan Gannon lose, or Jonathan Gannon lose his job, because I was so excited that he was going to be another like Dan Campbell, a really fun culture guy, and it just didn't work out over there. I guess we'll see who's if there is this eighth person, maybe. But I think Gannon is one of those guys that could possibly still get a D coordinator job in this whole hunt, so I don't think it's completely out of the. Okay, so Cleveland. Yes, let's go to Cleveland. Cleveland also let go of former 2-time Coach of the Year Kevin Stefanski. it does make sense. I figured that Barry would be out with him, but I also kind of and here's my reasoning behind that is because just last year you traded Jacksonville for the first or for their number one this year. Obviously, they could go on a heck of a run and things could go well for them. If your quarterback is going to be Shador Sanders or Dylan Gabriel, I don't know what the plan is over there. I thought they were. I mean, Shador looked pretty solid at times. Dylan didn't look like he was very confident throwing the ball. I don't know what to think of the two offenses there. You now have Quinshawn Judkins and Dylan Sampson, who both, if you can get a decent offensive minded coach to kind of help run the ball over there, I can kind of understand why the firing of Stefanski happened. The GM spot is just kind of where I'm a little crazy, right? Because would you not want to give a guy that has the opportunity to pick two first round picks, two like order changing picks? Why would you not want to take him? And of course, Cleveland, they possibly knocked themselves out of Carnell Tate or Jordan Tyson range, but of course, a lot of people are now speculating that this draft is really just not going to be that all that with the receiver. So maybe Cleveland still is able to land a Carnell Tate. I think that some of their big issues are O line and receiver right now. The defense is absolutely crazy. You have Shesslinger, you have Myles Garrett, who just broke the sack record. Congratulations to him. You still have Denzel Ward. On the offense, you have Harold Fanine and David Njoku. I could see Njoku maybe being the guy you let go. You do need to get help at the receiver position. O line definitely could use a heck of an improvement. Um, the quarterback play was all right at times. I think that that's the real concern for me right now. Which, hey, you never know because, like a lot of people have mentioned, Shador didn't get a lot of reps with practice starting off. So maybe a full off season off will help him get things going over there, and maybe that's just what he needs, to be honest with you. So I am interested to see what happens over there in Cleveland. I was just kind of surprised to see Andrew Berry still there, but honestly, I kind of get it. But at the same time, my thought process was kind of thinking, why would you not want a GM to, make these picks that are going to change the organization? Who else? Who else? Atlanta, yes. The Atlanta Falcons let go of Raheem Morris. They also did end up letting go of Terry Fontenot and their CEO. I forgot his name. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Yeah, this was as unfortunate as it is, or as it was. I fully kind of expected it. He ended up going 8-9 this year, and I thought that might have been just enough to save the job because they finally had gotten things going. Finally, the defense had started playing better. I will stand by that Kirk Cousins probably should have been the quarterback all year long. I think if Kirk Cousins is your quarterback all year long, Raheem Morris is probably still there. You still have Bijan. Right now, you have Kyle Pitts. You have Drake London. I don't know what Kyle Pitts' contract's looking like. I believe he was a 22 draft, so this would probably be around that ballpark. It's real tough right now. He could have been 21. I can't even tell you right off the top of my head. I think the Falcons they have a lot of pieces on the defense. Jesse Bates, obviously, I'm a James Pierce fanatic as a Tennessee Volunteers fan. Wearing the orange, repping it, and I forgot the other one. Was it Walker? I think it was Jalen Walker. They still have so much talent on the team. I can kind of understand where they're coming from. That talent did not end up reaching it where they needed to reach. There's a lot of talk of Matt Ryan coming in to be a president of football operations. If that is the case, that's a great news for the Falcons. Maybe I don't know how much of a football guy he is, like outside of being a quarterback. But if he is, then maybe that's the smart pick. But yeah, we'll go with I don't know what to think over there in Atlanta. I thought maybe he had done enough to save the job. Unfortunately, was not the case. Raheem Morris is a defensive coordinator, Super Bowl winning defensive coordinator. I definitely hope to see him back as a coordinator. Maybe he's just a better coordinator than coach. Sometimes that is how it goes. I think that's the case with Brian Dable. I like Brian Dable a lot, so maybe that is just the case. Now, the last one we'll dive into from yesterday was Pete Carroll. Yes, Pete Carroll with the Las Vegas Raiders was also let go. After only 1 year and earning the number one overall pick, as tough as it is, right, to sit there and go, well, he probably did need more time. But man, when you're, I don't, I think the Raiders were thinking that they were a middle of the road type team and that they were going to progressively get better. And they were horribly coached this year. So that's the part that becomes a little bit of an issue, is they were horribly coached this year. I think you have some issues now with, you now have Ashton Genty, you have Brock Bowers, you have Max Crosby, who hopefully all three of these guys are not, or Max Crosby is not completely angry at the whole organization. But he did apparently need to get work done on that thing, but obviously things aren't looking great after he said he wouldn't tank for the first overall pick. And then, well, they end up beating the Chiefs, which, shout out every AFC West team getting a victory over the Chiefs this year. But yeah, um, I think some of the issues with Pete Carroll is that, and this could be completely wrong. Someone had mentioned it in a video that the rookies he was just not playing, and that might have been part of the issue there, is that he just was not trying to play any of these rookies and get them ready or get them playing on game day. You could have had Beck. Betch, I don't know how to say his name, Jack. Didn't really see him on the field. Didn't see Darian Porter a lot on the field. There's a lot of guys that I think that's part of the issue. I think that's part of the reason that they might be looking to move forward, is he did not give the rookies reps. And I think at a point where you know that your season's basically over, that's probably the smartest move to make, is to get these rookies out there, let them get in game action. That could be the only thing I can think of for him, to be honest with you. Other than the fact that you earned the first overall pick, and that's just not the spot you ever want to be in. And if you are going to have the first overall pick, you're going to rechange your entire organization. Sometimes you just want a new head coach to do that with, and I completely kind of understand that for him. But yeah, that's tough for old Pete. We won't dive too much into him. Obviously, the Giants did let Brian Dable go. We did talk about Brian Dable just a little bit not too long ago. Maybe we did, maybe we didn't in a video. Brian Dable had been a head coach for a few years, had obviously gotten the Giants to a playoff, and then things have just deteriorated south. Now you are entering into a new head coach with, you have Jackson Dart, you have Cam Scatterbill, you have Malik Neighbors. As long as all three are healthy to start the season next year, you have a fun nucleus on the offensive side. I think this is the best fit for a defensive coach, though, because your secondary was absolutely bad, was horrible. And a lot of that had to do with Shane Bowen being the coordinator. I know very well as a Titans fan, not a great coordinator. But yeah, going forward, Brian Dable, I think he's a great offensive coordinator, just maybe not much of a head coach, and that's just sometimes that's how it goes. Last but not least, Brian Callahan over there in Tennessee. We lost, not we, but Titans. Brian Callahan had won 3 games his entire tenure with the Tennessee Titans, and in fact, that third win was an absolute let it go by the Cardinals as they let it go at the goal line. I don't know if that team, the Titans, probably end up with the first overall pick if they let Brian Callahan coach the full season. And looking at the class, I don't know if that's a completely awful thing, because there is Ruben Bain and Arvell Reese out there. Titans definitely need help on the defensive side of getting to the quarterback. Secondary is obviously not the most great thing in the world. The offense, you obviously have a lot of fun pieces to work around with Tamir DK, Elike Manor, Gunnar Helm, and Cam Ward. It sounds like Chigakonkwo will be leaving, as he posted on social media that they goodbye to Nashville. Tough. It's a real tough one. But yeah, I think going forward, that's just how it goes. Yeah, the Titans definitely need to make that move, in my personal opinion. I understand. Honestly, I do understand all 7, like where they're at. Maybe the Harbaugh one's the one that I'm kind of surprised by, but I guess I want to know what you're thinking. Um, what's the biggest surprise for you during this whole cycle? Obviously, we might not even be done yet, which is absolutely crazy and fun to think about, but other than that, who knows, right? Um, thank you guys for making it to my talk. I know that the videos aren't the most impressive thing in the world, but I do appreciate you sitting down and talking with me anyway. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope to give a like, give a comment, give a subscribe. See you all next video.